In this week's guitar lesson, we are looking at Fake Tales of San Francisco by the Arctic Monkeys. Now, they've recently gone out on tour here in the UK, and I thought that it would be appropriate to do one of their classic songs off their first album, which I absolutely love. This song is great for practicing using your picking hand and also getting your left hand fingers moving in a repetitive loop. And then it also has a breakdown of power chords where you can just strum away and kick the distortion on. So let's delve straight into it. We're going to place our third finger on the 7th fret of the low E. And the reason why we're using this third finger is because we then need to go to the 5th fret on the A string with our first finger. So the rhythm's like this. Okay, so 7, 5. Then we need to go back to 7 on our top string. So we've got... And then we have a little cluster of notes here where we go back to the 5th fret A with our first finger, to the 7th fret A with our third finger, and back to the 5th fret A with our first finger. Okay, so it's 5, 7, 5. And then if we add it in with the notes we did before, so we've got 7th fret on the top string, 5th fret on the A, back to the 7th fret on the low E, and then 5, 7, 5. In the context of the song, sounds like this. And once more. And we essentially play all of those notes 3 times. And then we go to play it again. So we play the 7th fret low E like we normally would. 5th fret on the A like we normally would. 7th fret on the A like we normally would. But rather than go back to 5, we're actually going to slide from that 7th fret up to the 9th fret on the A. Like that. Okay, so it would be... And then we're going to go to the 7th fret on the D with our first finger, 7th fret on the A with our first finger, and then the 5th fret on the A with our first finger. So that little section there sounds like this. And then you'd go to the 7th fret low E and start that all again. And then if we put it together with what we got so far, with the rest of the riff, it's going to sound like this. You may just need to practice that end bar, it is a little bit quick, but that is essentially the riff that repeats multiple times in the verses and for most of the song. So in the second verse there is actually a second guitar that comes in, and it sounds like this. So this is actually really simple. You can choose to play this as a bar or you could use 2 fingers. So we're going to go with 2 fingers. So first finger on the 7th fret of our B string, second finger on the 7th fret of our high E, and we're going to hit this chord 2 times, so 2 downstrokes. And then we're just going to move that shape down 2 frets. So we're on the 5th fret of the B and 5th fret of the high E, and we hit it once. So altogether it's... And it does that multiple times in this verse. Then towards the middle / the end of the song, we've got almost like a little breakdown where we actually go to full chords, and these are actually going to be power chords. So this is the part where he sings the lyrics that proof that love is not only blind but deaf. That's when the power chord comes in and the track gets louder. So the first power chord is the 7th fret on the low E, and then we're going to play the 9th fret on the A with our third or our little finger. And on this chord, we're just going to play it 16 times. So to get the true Arctic Monkeys style, it would just be all downstrokes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to move that shape down now. So our first finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the low E. Little finger, or that 3rd finger is going to be on the 5th fret of the A. Again, 16 times. Then we're going to move that shape to the 7th fret on our A now with our first finger, and then the 9th fret on the D with a little or third finger, again 16 times. And then we're going to move that shape back up now to the very first chord that we played, but this time we're only going to play it 12 times. And then it has this cool little break, I guess you can call it, where we go 7, 8 and 9 on our A string. So if we go from the chord before that, which we play 12 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's a really, really cool part that they added in just to break up the chords a little bit. But it essentially flick between doing that chord progression and the 7, 8, 9 on the A string to actually not doing the 7, 8, 9. So what will happen on one of those turns is we play our chords exactly the same and the same amount of times, so 16 times on the first one. Second chord, 16 times. To our 7th fret A, 9th fret D, exactly the same. Then we move up to that chord, but rather than play it 12 times, we just play it 16 times like the rest of the chord. Eventually, after that breakdown, as you want to call it, everything drops out, but there is a guitar that plays this line. So you may be watching this and thinking, well, that's just exactly the same as the second verse. Well, kind of. You can play it in exactly the way of the second verse, but in the actual song we have this. So all we're doing here is just adding in some mutes. So we're going to go down, up on our chords, however you want to play it, whether it's 2 fingers or with the bar, and then we're going to hit the chord twice. So it's going to be mute, mute, chord, chord, mute, mute, chord, chord. And then the next chord where we go down to the 5th fret on the B and the 5th fret on the high E, we actually only have 1 mute and then we have 1 chord. Okay, so it'll be mute chord, mute chord. So altogether we have got this. So just stick with those chords all the way to the end, and you actually end on the 7th fret B and high E, and you kind of slide off to nowhere. So I hope you enjoyed Fake Tales of San Francisco by the Arctic Monkeys. Really good practice for beginner guitarists, getting those fingers moving and also practicing our power chords. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, drop a like, drop a subscribe and click the bell. That way you'll be notified each week when I upload a guitar lesson.